Hey everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm really happy to have you here with me today, where you can probably tell by my voice I have a little bit of a head cold. I'm actually just at the end of a cold. It's not been too serious and I feel fine outside of sounding like I have a head cold. But today is going to be a fun day in the kitchen, and it's kind of the perfect day to spend time in the kitchen because it's raining and cold outside. I had to light the wood stove this morning, so the house is feeling really cozy. We're going to be making some of my favorite things today. We're going to make some French onion soup and we're going to can it. I have some bone broth already cooking in the Instant Pot. I didn't get very many of the bones back from the butcher, so I contacted him this morning and he actually has some more bones for me, which is great. So I just have a small batch today, but it should be enough for the amount of broth that we need, beef broth that we need to make this French onion soup. So we're going to be doing that. We have tons of tomatoes over there in the sink that we need to get processed. We also have the roaster oven behind you or just below you filled with tomatoes that need to be turned into something. They've been cooking down all night. I am at the point now where I have made quite a dent in all the tomatoes that we picked out of the high tunnel. So in the last video, I shared with you that we picked 600 pounds of peppers and tomatoes out of the high tunnel. And I'm so happy because most of those tomatoes already had a blush on them, which means that they're ripening really quickly inside, and I've been able to work through quite a few of them already. I made a huge batch, you can see back over here, of just plain tomato sauce. That's just the liquid that I drained off of my tomatoes that I canned up to use as a base for my beef stew. But I also have a bunch of chili base over here, which is one of my favorite new things to can. This is the first time I've ever canned it. So this is just a base for chili. I'll link the recipe that I'm using down in the show notes below. But one of the things I'm looking most forward to trying today is some fried green tomatoes, and this is actually Whistle Stop fried green tomato mix. So fried green tomatoes was my very favorite movie, still is my favorite movie to this day, when I was in my teens, and I've seen it so many times I can't even count how many times. And I had mentioned that on a video last year, and Tammy Davis sent me this Whistle Stop Cafe green tomato batter, and she said it's their very favorite batter. So I have been saving it for green tomatoes this year. Fortunately, it doesn't expire until December, and we are going to make up some fried green tomatoes. I'm very excited to try these because I have been told for years now that I need to try fried green tomatoes, so today is the day. Before we jump into this video though, I want to share with you that my membership community's doors are now officially open. If you're on my newsletter or you joined us for the Zoom call on Friday, which was so much fun, by the way, thank you for all of the people that showed up to that call, then you've already received your invitation. But for my friends here on YouTube, this is your official invitation to join the community, and I am offering a free month, a free trial month, so that you can come check it out, see if it is a good fit for you, and I'm sure it will be because it is just a wonderful space. If you want to learn more about it, I will put a link down in the show notes below and in the pinned comment, and you can go over and read all about what we offer in the community. But I wanted to share with you a couple of my favorite aspects. Over the last 6 months, my membership community has become such a, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just a wonderful place to be able to connect with other people who have similar interests. And the women that are part of this community are some of the nicest women I have ever met in my life. There's tons of information within this membership in the library. There's videos and articles on all different kinds of topics related to the things that I talk and share about here on my channel. You don't have to have a homestead. You can live in an apartment. Some of the women in our community live in apartments. Some live in farms that are larger than mine, and some just live in town with a small yard. So it's not necessarily a homesteading community. It is more a old-fashioned skills community. And whether you have absolutely no experience and you're coming in just to learn as much as you can, or you have been at this for a really long time and you're just looking for a place to meet other women who are along kind of on the same wavelength as you are, this is the perfect place for you. So there's a couple awesome features of the community. If you want to learn about everything that I offer, just click the link below and that will take you right to a page that has all the information. But some of the features of the community that I really love are the weekly calls. We have a call every single week over Zoom so we can see each other face to face, which is a lot of fun. And every second week we usually have a Q&A that's related to a specific topic, and I will either bring somebody in to talk on a topic, or I will speak on something that I have a lot of experience in. Last week we talked about mulching, we've talked about gardening, we've talked about pantry building, we've talked about preparedness, herbology, all that kind of stuff. And then every second week it's a general chat call. There is also, when you sign up, you get a one-on-one call, a 30-minute one-on-one call with me, so that we can get to know each other a little bit before you jump into the community. And also so that I can learn a little bit more about how I can best help you. There's also a really engaged forum. It's kind of like our own personal Facebook group, except it's on my website, so it's completely off of all the other social media platforms, and it's just for the community, and it's very active. There's usually several posts every single day. I try to get in there at least once or twice a day to answer any questions, or just to share the things that I have going on in my own kitchen. I would love to see you in there. If you want to go check it out, like I said, the link is down below this video. And on that note, let's get into getting all of this food turned into some food for our pantry shelves. So one of the things that I absolutely love about this French onion soup is I use it. I need to make myself some space here. This is a little bit cluttered. So what I like to do with this French onion soup is eat it as French onion soup, because French onion soup is delicious, but also I use it as a base for tons of other soups that I make. I usually throw in a jar or two into like my beef stew, for instance. And the nice thing is because all the garlic and the onions are already in it, I don't have to chop any more garlic or onions or anything like that for my soups. I also like to use it as a base for my gravy. If I don't have, like for instance, when we make poutine, which is French fries with gravy and cheese curds, I don't necessarily have meat that I've cooked and juices from meat to make gravy, so I'll open up a jar of that and make my gravy out of that, and it is absolutely delicious. So the first thing that we're gonna do is don our super fancy goggles here, our glasses for onions. These have like a cushion around them, so theoretically your eyes don't burn when you wear these, although for me, because I am so darn sensitive to onions, they even will burn wearing these. Whoa, these ones need a clean. Hang on one sec. So all we're gonna do here is cut off the ends of our onions like so, and run them right through our food processor. And you want these cut into fairly thin slices. And then we need to fry these up. You can make this French onion soup without frying your onions, but it tastes so much better if you fry them up. So I'm going to be frying them up. And if both my roaster ovens weren't full, well, I have one full one there, and then I'm going to be filling up that one over there with the tomatoes that are in the sink. I would be putting all of these onions into my roaster oven, putting my roaster oven outside and cooking them throughout the night and just roasting them in there. That works really, really well. But because my ovens are currently full, I am going to be roasting these. I might do them in the oven. We'll see. I haven't yet decided how I want to roast them up, or if I just want to fry them on the stove. Personally, I think they're best fried on the stove, and just because you get that really good caramelized thing going on. But let's start with just getting all of these cut up. Well, if there's one good thing about chopping all these onions up, it should clean my sinuses out a bit. So these are kind of perfect as far as nice thin slices. So I'm just gonna dump these in here, and we're just gonna keep going until all of this is done. And your house is definitely gonna smell oniony after this. That is for sure. Just gonna throw a little olive oil on these. Plunk these in the oven and just get those started roasting in there, because with the amount of onions that I have here, I am going to run out of stovetop space. I considered lighting Martha this morning. Martha's my wood cook stove. And, but it's already fairly warm in here with the wood furnace going downstairs. So I'll just do it up in the stove right now. So I had to open up the doors and all of the windows, and even still my eyes were streaming. So I have 6 trays of onions in the stove, and I'm cooking them at 400 degrees. I'm roasting them, and every 15 minutes I'm turning them. So once they are softened and started to caramelize, then we'll get on to the canning. In the meantime, we're gonna get all of these tomatoes that we have sitting in the sink here ready and put into my roaster oven here that has been working overtime for the last couple of weeks. So what I like to do with my tomatoes is cut them. Where is my knife? There it is. So I just take the top part of the core out. I don't get fancy. What was that? Hold on one second. Just a squash falling off the deck. Maple was very concerned. But needless to say, I just take my tomatoes, and then if there's anything, let me see if I can have an example, where there's like a big crack and something kind of gross like that, I just set that one aside and those go to my chickens, because I am going to be canning these, and I only like to can tomatoes that don't have anything disgusting on them. I want to keep the vegetables as clean and kind of free of potential bacteria as I possibly can. So these have already been washed, and they're just going to go right into my roaster oven just in big chunks like that. I'm going to cook them down, and I have one that's cooked down already over there, and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So my beef bones that were in my Instant Pot, I just took those out and put them in the big pot on the stove there, and I ran those bones through the Instant Pot again because they still had lots of good nutrients in them. So I'm running those through a second time, and then that should give me enough broth to be able to can up the onions. This recipe calls for dry white wine, which I don't have in my kitchen, so I'm going to be omitting that. There's a little bit of rosemary in it, and I am going to add a bit of rosemary. When it comes to adding herbs to your canned products, stick to dry herbs. Fresh herbs tend to get bitter tasting when they're canned. So I'm going to be adding some dried rosemary in there. Maybe a little bit of oregano. I'm not sure. Oregano is one of those things I find that the older I get, the less I like it. It's certainly not lots of it in a recipe because it is such a strong flavor. So a little bit. We are going to be making a spaghetti sauce with the tomatoes that are in the other roaster oven over there. And I will use some oregano in that one too. So when you are cooking down whole tomatoes like this, especially if they aren't a paste tomatoes tend to have less water in them. You are going to get a ton of liquid out of your tomatoes. And in a video a couple of weeks ago, I just dumped the juice down the drain. I just strained them off to make my sauce. And so many of you commented, a little bit horrified that I had done that. Fair enough, because it makes a really good starter for, or a base for beef stew. So I did that the other day and it was absolutely delicious. Also for cooking rice in it's supposed to be really good, which I haven't tried yet to do that. But that's what these jars here are. No, not that one, this one. This is the juice that I took off of the last batch that I took out of the roaster oven. So I'm going to drain the one that I have over there because you'll see there's so much liquid in it, and do the same thing, just can that up, because why not put it into a jar and be able to use it for something during the winter time. I wanted to send out my heartfelt just love and support and prayers to all of you who were affected by the hurricane. I have been watching some of the videos coming out of the south. I have some friends with YouTube channels down there, and I am just heartbroken by the devastation. It's incredible. If you were directly affected by it or indirectly affected by it, I am so sorry. We have some experience up here with natural disasters, forest fire. We live in an intense forest fire zone, and I just know the trauma that is connected with that kind of natural disaster and how long it can take to recover after something like that. So just know that I'm thinking of you. So we're just going to stir our onions. I do not want to use that dish towel. I don't want to use that dish towel because it's my favorite one. I just want to look at it for a while before I start using it. So we're just going to stir these in here, and my eyes are going to start burning again. Continue on with our tomato chopping. Okay, we are just about full enough here We can mound this up quite a lot because the lid has some space in it, and this is going to condense down quite a bit. So I really stuff it full. And then we're going to turn this on to around 250 degrees Fahrenheit and let it do its thing. It's heading towards lunchtime, so I'm going to make myself up a fried green tomato. Green tomatoes. We're going to throw our egg in there and then just enough water to make a nice thick batter. That looks about perfect there. Gonna get my fry pan heating up. Okay, we're gonna heat our oil up here. There's our sliced up tomatoes there. Some of them are starting to go red on the inside. Oil's nice and hot. Into our batter. And onto our pan. Let's turn that down a little bit. I think I might have had that a little too hot. They look yummy. Okay, then we need to drain these with some paper towel. You know, I bet you I could make some really good onion rings with this stuff too. I think that's what I'll do with the rest of these, is make some onion rings. Okay, I've got some onions. I've got some nice big onion rings here, so I'm gonna plop those in this. It does say on the box that it's good for making onion rings too. So we shall make some, because onion rings are yummy. And then we are going to try ourselves a fried green tomato. I feel like it's wrong that I've never had a fried green tomato, so I'm quite excited to right that wrong right now. Oh my goodness, my eyes are just burning from these onions cooking in the oven. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll stick those up there. I think these ones are going to be a little bit better because they were able to cook through. The oil was so hot that they weren't able to cook through before. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt to these and let them cool for a sec. Add some more oil and get our onions frying while those cool. Oh good, that's going to use up that batter perfectly. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll let those fry and try ourselves a fried green tomato. Here goes, friends. I really want to love fried green tomatoes, but they taste a little bit plain to me. Like there's not a ton of flavor. The crust that's on the outside of it is good. Like a little bit sour, like you'd expect a green tomato to be. I'm not sold. Somebody was saying to me the other day that green beans are one of those things that she felt like you had to grow up with in order to like them. And I didn't grow up with green beans, canned green beans, so it's not something that I really like. And I feel like fried green tomatoes might be the same way, where it's just like if you've eaten it your whole life, then you like it. You have to tell me, for all of those who have had fried green tomatoes before, is it something that you like? And if it is something you like, did you grow up with it? That would be something I would be interested in. They're not terrible. They're just not delicious. Like they're completely edible, but not something that I would probably make again. Now, onion rings, on the other hand, I do love me some onion rings. And these onions are, oh my gosh. You see all that oniony steam that just came out of the stove? They're starting to caramelize up a bit. Okay, and that used up the whole box, so that's good. Yum. All right, I'm gonna stop and gobble these up. I'll be back with you again in a few minutes. Okay, friends, these bones, there is not much left in those, but we have some beautiful beef broth to make our French onion soup with. Can you see that in there? It smells good. So generally French onion soup has dry white wine in it, which I'm not going to add to mine. I'm just going to do the beef broth, a little bit of seasoning, and our onions. So we're gonna get our jars all set out here. I'll show you how our onions are looking. Get our hot pads out here. So you can see they've cooked down a ton. They're all caramelized now. This took around an hour and a half or so to get them to this point. We have a lot of onion here. Okay, and our jars. So these are going to require pressure canning. Okay, we're gonna start with 7 jars because that's how much my one pressure canner can fit. And we'll see how much more we get. It's kind of crazy how much all of those onions cooked down, isn't it? So I'm gonna add a nice, good sized teaspoon of salt to here because I haven't salted our broth at all. And you know, I'm thinking I might just do the onions and the broth, and then I can season it whatever way I want when I use it. That's generally how I like to can. Just keeping it simple so that I can use it in all different kinds of recipes throughout the winter. Okay, I'm going to use my strainer in this. So you guys were asking last time where I got this funnel and strainer. So this is from 4 jars. Very handy, but we'll start over on this side. I'm going to strain it just because I haven't strained the broth that we're gonna be using. And there's probably not a lot. What am I doing? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try this again. Let's put the onions in first and then the broth. That would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? These sure smell good. So we're gonna fill up these jars with our onion and then top it with our broth. Let's just pack that down just a little bit. Yeah, look at that. So just about one whole tray fits into a jar here. These other ones that are a bit more full probably do too. So we'll get all these filled with onions first, and then we'll top them off with our broth. Caramelized onions are the best thing, and thank goodness they're no longer burning my eyes. That was intense. I had every window in the house open. Not fun. I know there's all kinds of tricks for having onions not burn your eyes, and I have tried all of them. I'm just somebody who's very, very sensitive to onions specifically. But really I would say like kind of smells in general. I'm pretty sensitive to. Don't think I'm going to have 2 canners worth here, but doing more onions than that isn't really realistic. I think I'm going to deeply regret not putting parchment paper in the bottom of those trays because the onion is very much cooked on the sides. I'm happy because I just went down to check my freeze dryer and I put peppers in there this morning, and it looks like they're almost done already, which is awesome since I have lots of peppers to do. I did end up doing a ton of them and just freezing them yesterday. The longer ones that are kind of longer and more narrow were starting to go soft, and I didn't have room in my any time on my freeze dryer that I could fit them in. So I froze them and shoved them down in all of the empty spaces in my freezer, of which there is not many currently. Okay, so that is going to do 7. So we're probably only going to get 2 more jars out of that. Well, let's see how much broth we end up with, because we might be able to just can some plain broth as well and fill up the second canner. Let's fill this all up and see. Let's grab something bigger than that ladle. Do you guys remember the other day when I said, don't let me forget to pick those purple pole beans? Well, I forgot, but then when I was checking comments yesterday or the day before, somebody said, I don't know if you remembered, but you need to go pick those pole beans. And I remembered because of that comment and went out and picked them. Look at how beautiful these are. And these are such a tender bean. They're absolutely delicious. Somebody sent me these seeds probably 6 or 7 years ago now, and I can never remember what they're called, but I think it was Bulindi. Baulinde, I think. But I've been saving seeds off these every year because they're my favorite bean. They're so tender and delicious. Oh, I picked up the ladle again. I prefer to use, oh, Dan's home. I prefer to use wood or plastic for debubbling, because if you use metal, I've talked about this before, but you can get little micro fractures in your jars, and that just kind of weakens them over time. So yeah, use wood or plastic if you have it handy. Okay, I think we can just top off with just a little bit more broth. You want to leave about 1 inch of headspace here. Wash our rims and then lid them up and get them into the canner. I'm excited because we finally got a new front door. That's what Dan was in town picking up. It's just a simple door with a window and a window that opens so that I can have airflow through the house in the summertime. Anyway, I should back up. For those of you that are new, our front door, I'll show you, is this gorgeous 1970s front door. And it isn't the aesthetic that I have an issue with. It's the fact that the door is so banged up and dinged up and so squeaky. It just needs to be replaced. Was the original door that was put in this house back in 1974. We just got a simple, sturdy door, and I'm going to make a pretty curtain for it. Dan was asking if I wanted one that had like the 2 panes and then the blind that comes up and down on the inside of the panes. And I considered it for a minute, but then I decided, no, I'll just make some cute curtains for it. All right, let's lid these up. I'm starting to run a little bit low on my canning supplies, which is not a bad feeling because it means that I have lots and lots of jars in the pantry, which is exciting. Cannot wait to show you guys when we do the pantry tour. Probably by the end of this month. We usually try to do our pantry tour. We do it every year at the end of October, the very beginning of November. And it's one of our funnest videos to share with you guys. We're gonna pressure can these for 75 minutes. Okay, so I ended up with 3 more quarts of the French onion soup. Or I guess technically it's not French onion soup, it's just bone broth and caramelized onions. So we should be able to fill up our canner with this, which is awesome. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce. I was thinking spaghetti sauce originally, but now I think I'm just going to run down and take a quick tally of where I'm at with pizza sauce, because we do make pizza once every 2 weeks or so, sometimes every week. And I want to make sure that I have enough for the winter, so I might do that. My seed garlic came in, so I wanted to show you what I got. These are from Rasa Creek. I think it's Rasa, it might be Rasa Creek Farm in Lumbee here in British Columbia. So let me show you what I got. When your garlic comes in the mail, make sure you open up the box and open up all the bags just so that they don't start molding. Well, I'm not going to be planting these for probably 3 more weeks, 2 or 3 more weeks. Usually mid to the end of October is when I like to plant, just before the ground freezes hard. So this one, so I've got red Russian, and this is one that I plant all the time. Isn't that beautiful? I have red, oh dear. Dan, you want to come try to pronounce this? Taklivar, I have no idea what this is. Can you come see? See, it's not. I don't know. I have no idea. I'll put it on the screen what this one is. Somebody will know. Yeah, someone will know. These are some more. They're so gorgeous. And then I got some Susan Delafield. This is one of my favorite garlics to grow. These ones grow the most massive bulbs. those really huge ones that I showed you when I picked my garlic, that was these ones. They didn't have any large bulbs for me to buy. They had already sold out of them. So I got some smaller ones, but they will grow big garlic anyway. These are actually feeling a little moist, so definitely glad that I got them and can open them up. I got some music because I planted music for the first time this year and I did love it. Open that up. And I got Kettle River Giant. This one I'm excited about. I haven't grown this one before. So beautiful garlic bulb. And I'm going to be planting a whole bunch of my own garlic too. I want to plant around 200 or so this year. And ooh, look at these ones. Isn't that beautiful? This one is Creme de la Resa. So these ones I did grow this year and I did like them a lot. And that's it. So I'm just going to sit these down in my cold room with the bags open until I am ready to plant. And I will bring you with me when we do that. So here is all of our tomatoes. I am just going to sit and have a quick visit with Dan because he just got in the door. And then I'll be back with you and we will turn this into some sauce. Okay, friends, I have decided to do the spaghetti sauce with meat out of the complete book of home preserving, the Ball book, which is my favorite canning book. But we will get all of the seasonings in here right now. So we're going to do... Oh, we can use some of those mushrooms. Remember I bought that thing of mushrooms at Costco the other day, those dried ones? We can add those into this because this calls for garlic, onions, bell peppers, which I have a few of, mushrooms, parsley, brown sugar, oregano, salt, and freshly ground black pepper. So pretty simple, standard spaghetti recipe. These are starting to go soft, friends. I am going to have to get these dealt with in the next 24 hours. I'm going to be giving quite a few of those away to family, so I'm going to try to get those delivered tomorrow, I guess, since I don't want to bring them soft peppers because these peppers are just so glorious. And we're going to be pressure canning this, so I'll show you, probably not actually getting it canned in the next video, but I will show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Because I'm not going to get to adding all the beef and everything probably until tomorrow at this rate, since it is already, what time is it right now anyway? Yeah, it's already after 4, so definitely won't get to that because I need to get dinner going too. But what I'm going to do for dinner tonight is some borscht. Where did I put that? That I had in the freezer. So we're just going to have that for dinner, and that makes it easy with some fresh bread. I'm so unaccustomed to actually chopping peppers by hand because I use my food processor so much this time of year for all my dicing and my chopping. Into there, I'm going to run down to the pantry and grab those mushrooms. Let's try these and see. Smell good. Just going to chop these a little bit. The bigger pieces anyway. How many do we need to add into this? I'm gonna have to make a guess here because it's talking about fresh mushrooms. 5 cloves of garlic, but these are pretty gigantic cloves here, so I think I'll go with 3 of them. And then we're gonna throw in these, and I'm just gonna let this cook on low overnight and can it up in the morning. So I won't be able to show you the actual canning process in today's video, but I'll show you what this looks like when it's all done in the jars. Honestly, don't know if I've ever made this recipe before. I'm not sure. I know I've done tons of spaghetti sauce, but I don't know that I've done it with the ground beef before. I know I have done sloppy Joe mix, which reminds me I need to do some more because that's something that my kids really liked. So I'll do, maybe with the next round of tomatoes, I'll do some sloppy Joe mix. All right, and that goes, and then our onions. I don't want to chop onions. Oh man. Oh, all right, so we have a little bit of oregano in here, a little bit of salt, some pepper, and a big old mess. So now I am just going to add that ground beef tomorrow and get this canned up. Okay friends, that is going to be it for me. I am just going to put this, like I said, back into the roaster oven just on low overnight, add that meat and get this all canned up. And like I said, I'll show you the finished jars in the next video. Don't forget about the free month to my membership. The link is down below in the show notes and in the pinned comment. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye everyone.